Hey everybody, it's Denny.
And this is James from TeaDB, and thanks for joining us for episode number 57, getting pretty old, and to celebrate our oldness, we have an even older tea than last week.
We do. So, we have some aged Oriental Beauty from 79.
Yeah.
And super excited to drink this. This was given to us by a friend,
Jeremy?
This is from JT in Portland.
Yes, or in Eugene, Oregon.
Excuse me. And super stoked to try this. I love Oriental Beauty, so I'm really interested in seeing how it tastes aged. This looks so much different than the normal Oriental Beauty that I'm used to.
The leaves are much smaller. It's hard to say if that's from the processing or if sometime in the aging process it got chopped up of some sort. But
yeah, or roasted again. It's also very dark.
Yep.
One of the characteristic things about a good quality Oriental Beauty is the little bit of white, sort of fluffy tip. You can see that as a characteristic look for Oriental Beauty. Anyway, I'm excited to try this because I have a very close affinity to this tea. I love it, and I drink it all the time.
Yep.
So
special thanks to Jeremy for making this event happen. And like you said, Oriental Beauty is not a typical oolong. Right. So we've had a lot of typical oolongs, especially from Taiwan, that have been aged. But this is not an ordinary one. So I'm curious to see what the aging process would do to something a little bit darker
Precisely.
and more oxidized, like Oriental Beauty.
Yeah, I'm very curious. And it looks very oxidized, more so than I've ever seen it before.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious. So how much leaf do we have here, James?
Yep, so we're using about 7 grams of leaf for a 90 milliliter Yixing. And this thing, this pot that I'm using, it's a super high-fired Hongni, which means that it's going to retain heat like, I don't know, like something that retains heat really, really strongly. So this thing stays hot for a long time. So we are going to be brewing this hot and strong.
Okay. Sounds good. And Oriental Beauty, I find, can vary so much depending on how you brew it. So experiment yourself, especially with your fresh Oriental Beauty. One tip you can try is just actually to try brewing it for a little bit longer than you normally would at a much lower temperature. Wow. Yeah. Interesting. More fruit on that than I would expect. Anyway, and so, but do experiment, go ahead and try your own ways of doing this, but we will drink this as James is going to brew it. So we're going to do a quick rinse here.
Yep, 1 rinse this time.
Okay. Great. And 7 grams to 90 milliliters of water is a lot. So don't freak out when you do this. Don't worry about using up all your tea because, as you can tell just from this first steeping, oh my goodness, that is so dark. So we're gonna get
that is like
10,
a white puer color
15, right, even maybe 20 steepings out of this tea, as long as you keep on heating up that water. So are you gonna flash breed this, James?
Close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say under 10 seconds.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Ooh. Oh yeah. You know it's full of tea when it's fallen out of the teapot. So thanks again, Jeremy. This is a total treat for us, especially for me. Totally stoked to try this. Yeah, I do the exact same thing. I guess it's not. You want it to be the most like pristine about every little. You could hold it the whole shebang.
Yeah.
I just dump it in there.
Yeah.
It's great.
Like while you're doing your fancy thing, there's like classical Chinese instruments playing in the background.
Chinese opera, if that's your thing.
No, but we are Westerners that have no culture, so.
We have no culture, but we love tea, and I don't think that letting the Yixing touch the glass makes a difference in the taste. But for some, it's not. As we all know, as you guys probably who have watched the show a few times know, tea is far more than just taste. Tea is a ritual. It is a release, a break, and do it as you'd like.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
That's very interesting. It's a very complex taste.
Yeah. I am surprised because I got so much of a fruity nose off of this, as I said earlier, and I'm getting much more of a sort of similar to a wooey roast on this, and a similar sort of mineral-y taste.
Yeah, I'm getting a slightly herbal, medicinal taste. Not strong, not super strong at all. But I've seen that a couple times in kind of these older pu'ers. No, not older pu'ers. Older oolongs as they age. It's got a stronger sweetness than I'm used to off of aged oolongs.
One of my favorite experiences of drinking tea is probably just the face that I just made. Someone gave a comment about my ridiculous gestations with my hands, and I do it all the time. So I love the experience of being a little bit confused and tasting something that's so novel that I don't really know how to describe it. This often happens when we're doing aged teas. I just have a hard time describing the taste personally. But it's wonderful, and I'm making the what is this taste face because it's good.
And I think I can actually taste that Oriental beauty, that source material there. There's like that hint of sweetness that I'm very familiar with. Exactly, midway through, that stays there, and I'm getting really nice continuing mouth action at the top of my mouth as well.
Why don't you talk a little bit about your experience in New York, because you had said that tasting tea is sort of 3 sips, and each sip has a different experience, and I just had a radically different taste experience on that 3rd sip.
Yep. I think especially basically, I got to think about this for a second. But the first sip, especially when you're tasting something that you're totally unfamiliar with, you don't taste like grapes and like special things unless it's really, really obvious.
Right.
Like you're just identifying, your body is recognizing, your taste buds are recognizing that you are indeed tasting something.
Right.
And then as you sip a second time, and I think this is Chinese folk wisdom or something like that. Like Denny said, we're not cultured, so it's unclear. In the second the second sip, you're starting to recognize that you are tasting. Some of those tastes are coming out, and then the 3rd taste is when you're actually drinking. So one of the things I've heard about Gung Fu style is you have your cup, and you drink it in 3. So you drink the first bit, the second bit, and then the 3rd bit.
Yeah, well, and I must say that personally, the taste experience of this tea has evolved just by sips, and it's wonderful.
Yeah,
the richness of this.
How hot
it's just,
oof. Yeah, it's bacon.
Yeah, that is warm.
Yeah.
Beautiful saturated color, nice thick viscosity. This has that aged je ne sais quoi that I can never actually explain. And then I'm getting that Oriental beauty in sort of the middle of it.
Yeah, which is
light though.
Surprising and very nice actually.
This has got much more of that oolong taste now to me, hinting at sort of a bit of bitterness.
Yep.
Again, I think that wooies have that aged taste because of the mineral content in the terroir, but this hints at that too, actually. So it's definitely, I wouldn't characterize this as sweet. I wouldn't characterize this as vegetal or fruity. It has hints at a lot of different things, and I think that's what kind of makes it wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Complex.
It's a very complex tea, and one that I need to spend actually a few sessions with to really get a stronger feel for, because this is not actually like too many teas that I have tasted.
I'm really loving the mouthfeel of this and the way that the taste sort of evolves in my mouth. This is delightful.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I'm also interested in, James, and I'm not sure how much you know about this, but biologically, humans have taste receptors not only just in your tongue, but actually in your stomach. I don't know if you knew this or not, but we actually can taste our food literally. This isn't just some, beautiful metaphor. We literally are tasting our food and sensing the taste and flavors of our food with our stomach, as well as our taste buds on our mouths. I'm wondering how much of the sitting with this tea over a few steepings is influencing the taste of it for me, as it would any other tea, of course, or any other food. But
yeah, if I understand what you're saying, the taste is kind of building up as you're steeping more, and by the time we get to like the 10th steep, for instance, you're gonna have like just your whole body, mouth, stomach is kind of like resonating with the tea.
Yeah, acclimated, yeah, absolutely resonating, great. This is really wonderful, I must say. I'm Jeremy, thank you so much. Yeah, this is delicious. And complex, hard to place, which is, again, it's kind of fun. James, when would you drink this tea? What's your sort of, if you imagine drinking this in a regular setting or maybe a irregular setting, what would it be?
Probably not today. I don't think I would drink this tea today. It's awfully warm outside, and these aged oolongs and aged pu'er are warming us even more.
Yes.
So today would not be a good day to drink this tea, but we're doing it anyways because that was our schedule. But I would probably drink this. The Chinese say drink green tea during the summertime and springtime because it's more cooling, and drink pu'er during the wintertime. And since we're gangstas, we ignored that advice. Probably against
tea gangsters.
Yeah, but I would probably follow that advice.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I think too that this tea stands alone beautifully. That you don't need to pair it with anything, and that
I definitely
it wouldn't probably appeal to a novice tea drinker as much as someone who's maybe more familiar with a variety of different teas or wines or foods. This is a bit of a special cup.
Yep, and really pay attention to how this tea changes in your mouth. It has a wonderful aftertaste, just really lingering in my mouth right now. So, I totally recommend it. It is a bit expensive. It's something like $15 or $16 an ounce. So that's something to be aware of. But pick up an ounce, see if you like it.
And I am continuously impressed at the evolution of this tea. It tastes much more now like a traditional oolong to me, like a heavily roasted oolong. And I think that, interestingly enough, the roast on this feels more roasted than when I'm used to drinking from Oriental Beauty. So I do wonder if it's been roasted to preserve the for aging purposes.
From what I understood, this tea has not been re-roasted.
Okay.
I could be mistaken, but that's what I recall.
Fascinating. So, maybe it's just that age itself is giving it some of those characteristic flavors. Mm-hmm. I'm not too sure.
Yeah. I actually taste a little bit less of the roast than I think you do. But it definitely has that really full oxidation feel to it. Mm-hmm. That you get from more fermented teas. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if that might be it.
I find this sort of a tea fascinating because it kind of blends itself between a roasted oolong and a ripe pu'er for me. Interestingly enough. This is sort of a middle ground between like an aged roasted maybe alishan and what we just had the episode before, which was an 80s raw pu'er.
And in some sense it is, because ripe pu'ers are your primary example of what aged tea is in some sense. And so if you take your oolong and then you age it for a while, in some sense it is like a roasted oolong, in some twisted sense of logic, a roasted oolong crossed with a ripe pu'er or an aged pu'er, more specifically.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful too. So James, where can someone pick this tea, and where can they learn more about tea stuff?
So visit JT International, that's their website. Other than that, please go to Eugene if you are there and pick up some teas there. Otherwise, check us out on TeaDB, where we have a lot more information on oolongs and aged oolongs in general.
Cool.